For years, fans of mountain men have been captivated by Marty Meierotto, the rugged Alaskan trapper whose life in the wilderness seemed almost untouchable. But now, everything you thought you knew about Marty's time in the Yukon is being questioned. According to an exclusive statement from Marty's brother, the truth behind the mysterious events in the frozen wilderness is far more shocking than anyone imagined. What really happened in the Yukon? How did Marty, the man who thrived in one of the harshest environments on Earth, face dangers that no television camera ever captured? His brother's revelation hints at hidden struggles, perilous encounters, and decisions that could have changed Marty's life forever. For fans who have followed Marty's journey from a Wisconsin youth to a seasoned Alaskan trapper, this is a story that pierces through the rugged exterior of the famed woodsman and reveals the human side of survival, the fear, the sacrifice, and the courage that no reality show could ever fully portray. This isn't just another tale of life in the wilderness. It's a rare, insider glimpse into the realities of the Yukon, where extreme weather, wildlife, and isolation collide in ways that test even the most experienced outdoorsmen. Marty's brother speaks candidly about the moments that were never shown on screen, the narrow escapes, the harsh lessons learned, and the personal cost of a life lived so far from civilization. Every word challenges the perception of Marty as just a mountain man, and instead paints a portrait of a man who faced unimaginable odds and emerged with a story that demands to be heard. Prepare yourself. The truth about what really happened in the Yukon is far more intense, emotional, and revealing than anything fans expected. And now, finally, Marty Meierotto's brother is telling it. No filters, no scripts, no sensationalism, just the raw reality of a life in the extreme wild. The Yukon is beautiful, but it doesn't forgive mistakes. Its snow-covered forests and frozen rivers hide dangers that most people could never imagine. Marty Meierotto had lived there for decades, mastering the wilderness in ways few outsiders could even comprehend. From building traps to flying bush planes, every skill he honed over the years was tested by the unforgiving land. But as his brother now reveals, there was one winter that changed everything, a winter when survival became far more than a challenge. It became a fight against the very forces of nature itself. It all began like any other season. The air was crisp and biting, and the wind whipped through the spruce trees with a relentless force that made even the most experienced trappers pause. Marty checked his traplines meticulously, ensuring every snare and set was secure, his sharp eyes scanning the horizon for signs of wildlife or danger. He moved through the wilderness with a quiet confidence, the kind that comes only from years of living in isolation, where mistakes are costly and every decision carries weight. Yet, even with decades of experience, no preparation could fully anticipate the challenges that lay ahead. According to his brother, the trouble began with a sudden storm. One moment, the sky was clear. The next, it was a whirlwind of snow and ice that seemed determined to erase all traces of the land beneath it. The wind tore through the valley, rattling the cabin's walls and freezing the very air they breathed. Marty's usually reliable shelter, a modest cabin crafted with his own hands, felt fragile against the ferocity of nature. Supplies were running low, the fire threatened to die out, and communication with the outside world was impossible. It was during those long, harrowing hours that Marty's survival skills were pushed to the edge. He had to navigate treacherous ice, ration his dwindling provisions, and remain vigilant against wildlife, which had become more aggressive with the deepening cold. His brother recalls the nights spent shivering in near darkness, every crack of ice and howl of wolves magnified into a threat. Fear was constant, yet it was tempered by a calm determination that only someone who truly understood the wilderness could possess. Marty relied not just on his knowledge, but on instinct, intuition, and sheer willpower to endure. There were moments when even the most seasoned outdoorsman could falter. Marty faced narrow escapes, sudden avalanches, hidden crevices, and near encounters with predators that could have ended his life in an instant. Yet, through every trial, he remained focused, pushing forward with a resilience that few could imagine. His brother describes Marty's mindset during these times, a combination of caution, patience, and relentless perseverance. each decision carrying the weight of survival. By the time the storm finally passed, Marty had not only survived, but emerged with a deeper understanding of both himself and the land he called home. The wilderness had tested him in ways no television episode could capture, revealing a human side to the mountain men legend, one filled with vulnerability, courage, and the quiet strength that comes from facing the impossible. His brother's account now confirms what fans suspected, but could never fully comprehend. Surviving the Yukon is not merely about skill. It is about heart, determination, and the unwavering will to endure, even when every force of nature seems aligned against you. In the end, Marty Meierotto's story is more than a tale of survival. It is a reminder of the raw power of nature, the fragility of human life, and the extraordinary resilience required to thrive in the most extreme conditions. For those who have followed his journey, this revelation offers a rare glimpse into the true challenges behind the legend, and it proves that the wild, untamed Yukon is a force that demands respect, fear, and admiration in equal measure. The Yukon doesn't just test survival skills, it reveals hidden truths. After the storm had passed, Marty Meierotto's world was forever altered. The blizzard had stripped the land bare, exposing dangers and secrets that had been buried under years of snow and isolation. His brother, speaking for the first time about what happened, paints a picture of a wilderness far harsher than any camera crew ever captured, a place where every decision carried consequences that could last a lifetime. Marty had always been cautious, meticulous in his preparation. He knew the traps, the rivers, and the mountains like the back of his hand. But this particular winter, something felt different. There was an undercurrent of tension in the air, a subtle warning that even the most experienced trapper could not ignore. His brother recounts how Marty noticed subtle signs that something was off: broken branches in unusual patterns, distant echoes that didn't match the natural flow of the wind, and the eerie absence of familiar animal tracks. It was as if the land itself was signaling a challenge far beyond the ordinary. On one of his routine trips along the traplands, Marty discovered a hidden danger that could have ended everything. A thin layer of ice covered a once stable river crossing. Without realizing it, he stepped onto it, and the ice gave way, plunging him into the freezing water. Every muscle in his body screamed with cold as he fought to pull himself out. In those moments, survival wasn't about skill. It was about sheer instinct and the refusal to surrender. His brother's voice trembles recalling how close Marty came to disaster, emphasizing that even years of experience could not guarantee safety in the Yukon. Yet the challenges were not only physical. Isolation gnawed at the mind. Days stretched into nights with no human contact, the silence amplifying every fear, every doubt. Marty's brother describes the loneliness that came with true wilderness living, a loneliness that no camera lens could capture. Thoughts of failure, of being unprepared, of leaving loved ones behind, pressed heavily on him. But Marty drew strength from his past experiences, from every winter endured, every trap checked, and every flight over the frozen expanse. He reminded himself why he came to Alaska in the first place: to live fully, to survive against the odds, and to remain independent in a world that demanded compromise. Marty also faced moral dilemmas, something rarely shown on television. His traps captured more than just fur-bearing animals. Sometimes injuries or unexpected encounters with wildlife required difficult decisions. Do you risk leaving a trapped animal to die, or do you intervene and risk your own safety? Marty's brother explains that these choices weighed heavily on him, shaping not only his survival but his humanity. Every action was a reflection of the man behind the legend, revealing courage, empathy, and responsibility in equal measure. By the end of that winter, Marty emerged transformed. The snow, ice, and storms had left scars, both visible and invisible. His brother emphasizes that what happened was not just a test of survival, but a crucible that revealed Marty's true character. The man who returned was stronger, wiser, and more aware of the delicate balance between life and death in the Yukon. For fans, this account is more than a story of hardship. It is a revelation of what life in the wilderness truly entails. Marty Meierotto is more than a mountain man. He is a man who has faced nature at its most unforgiving and lived to tell the tale. His brother's words confirm what viewers have long suspected: The Yukon does not forgive mistakes, but for those who endure it, the rewards are the deepest understanding of oneself and the land they call home. The winter may have ended, but its lessons remain eternal, a reminder that survival is never simple, and the wild always has secrets waiting beneath the snow. The Yukon is rarely silent, but some sounds make even the most seasoned trapper uneasy. Marty Meierotto had spent decades listening to the subtle rhythms of the wilderness. The creak of trees under snow, the distant howl of wolves, the soft crunch of ice beneath his boots. Yet, during that fateful winter, there were noises he could not identify, echoes that hinted at something lurking just beyond sight. According to his brother, these were not ordinary wilderness sounds. They were the first warnings of an event that would haunt Marty long after the snow melted. The story begins on a bitterly cold morning. Marty set out early, bundled against the wind that cut like knives. He had learned to respect the Yukon's unpredictability, but that day, instinct told him to be cautious. As he navigated his usual route, he noticed signs that something unusual had disturbed the landscape, broken tree limbs in patterns that suggested movement, tracks that were too large for any known animal, and distant shadows that disappeared the moment he looked directly at them. His brother describes the tension building with every step, a tension that no television episode could convey. Marty's mind raced. Was it a bear, a moose, or something else entirely? Every trap, every ridge, every frozen river crossing became a potential threat. His survival skills, honed over decades, were pushed to the edge as he tried to interpret these strange signs. There were moments when even his courage faltered. Alone in the wilderness, with only the echoes of the wind for company, he realized that survival wasn't just about fighting the elements, it was about facing the unknown. Then came the encounter that changed everything. Marty's brother explains that while checking a trap deep in the forest, Marty caught sight of a figure, tall, shadowy, moving with unnatural speed through the trees. It vanished before he could get a clear look, leaving only broken branches and a sense of foreboding. The moment was brief, but its impact was profound. Marty's careful routines became more cautious, his senses sharper than ever. Every rustle in the underbrush made his heart pound. Every distant howl became a warning. Isolation magnified these fears. Nights were the worst. The wind rattled the cabin and whistled through the cracks, and Marty lay awake, listening. His brother recounts the sleepless hours, the constant vigilance, and the mental strain of knowing that the wilderness could conceal both danger and opportunity. Decisions that might seem trivial in normal life, which trail to take, whether to check a trap or wait until morning, now carried life-or-death consequences. But amidst the fear and uncertainty, Marty's resilience shone. He adapted, survived, and learned to read the signs of the Yukon with even greater precision. His brother emphasizes that this period was not just about survival. It was about transformation. Marty became more attuned to the subtle rhythms of the wilderness, more capable of anticipating threats, and more aware of his own limitations. The experience left scars, both physical and emotional, but also forged an unbreakable connection between him and the land he called home. By the time spring approached, Marty had endured what few could imagine. His brother's revelation confirms what fans had long suspected, but never fully understood. The challenges of the Yukon extend far beyond trapping and living off the land. There are hidden dangers, unexplained occurrences, and moments that test not only skill but courage, intuition, and the human spirit. Marty Meierotto's story is more than a tale of survival. It is a testament to resilience, to the unseen forces that shape life in the wild, and to the extraordinary will required to endure the unknown. As his brother shares these events for the first time, the legend of the mountain man becomes more than television drama. It becomes a gripping reality, one that reveals the shadowy, unforgiving wilderness in all its raw, awe-inspiring power. Spring had begun to creep into the Yukon, softening the edges of the frozen wilderness, but the memories of the past winter lingered like a shadow. Marty Meierotto had survived storms, treacherous ice, and isolation. Yet there was one chapter of his journey that had remained hidden, until now. His brother, speaking for the first time, reveals the moments that no camera ever captured, moments that transformed Marty from a skilled trapper into a man defined by resilience, courage, and unshakable resolve. The winter had tested every skill Marty possessed. But the most harrowing challenges were not just physical. It was the isolation that pressed hardest on his mind. Days blurred into nights with no human contact, and the endless white landscape offered no comfort. His brother explains how Marty had to confront fears he had never faced before. The fear of injury without help, the fear of being cut off from the world, and the fear of failure in an environment that does not forgive mistakes. Every day was a battle of endurance, a test of mental and emotional strength, as much as of physical skill. Yet it was during this isolation that Marty made choices that would define his legacy. He navigated frozen rivers that could collapse beneath his weight, repaired traps under blinding snowstorms, and rationed supplies with careful precision. More importantly, he faced moments that required split-second judgment, decisions that could save his life or end it. His brother recounts one such instance, when Marty had to rescue an injured animal caught in a trap while a blizzard approached. Acting quickly was dangerous, yet the act reflected not only his skill, but his humanity. It was a delicate balance between survival and compassion, a lesson rarely shown on television, but fundamental to the man Marty had become. The shadowy figure in the forest, the strange sounds in the night, the unseen threats lurking beneath the snow. These were the events that haunted Marty, yet they also taught him how to adapt and endure. His brother emphasizes that the wilderness of the Yukon is not just a backdrop for adventure. It is a living, breathing entity that tests its inhabitants constantly. Only those who respect it, anticipate its challenges, and remain vigilant can survive. Marty learned to listen to the land in ways few could comprehend, interpreting the subtlest signs of danger, opportunity, and change. By the end of that brutal winter, Marty emerged not only alive but transformed. His experiences had left both visible and invisible marks, shaping a man capable of facing the unimaginable. The revelations shared by his brother confirm that Marty's survival was no accident. It was the result of decades of preparation, intuition, resilience, and the willingness to confront fear head-on. For fans who have followed his journey, this disclosure offers a rare glimpse behind the scenes. Marty Meierotto is more than the mountain man seen on television. He is a living testament to what it takes to endure in one of the harshest environments on Earth. His story is not just about survival. It is about the courage to face the unknown, the wisdom to navigate it, and the strength to emerge changed. Yet unbroken, the Yukon may have tested him. But Marty's story, now confirmed by his brother, proves that the human spirit can endure even the most unforgiving wilderness. Every trap set, every storm weathered, every sleepless night contributes to a larger truth. Survival in the Yukon is never easy. But for those willing to fight, it is a life-defining journey filled with lessons, growth, and the undeniable power of resilience.